The reporter's question hung in the air during the interview. Maya's new show has quite a few intimate scenes with the male lead. What are your thoughts on that? I offered a casual smile. That's lovely. The reporter seemed taken aback for a moment before pressing on. Do you think this will have any effect on your relationship with Maya? I mean, she has never taken on romantic roles before this. No, it won't, I said simply, because we've already divorced. The interview went viral almost immediately. My phone began to ring incessantly, but I ignored it until I saw Maya's name flash on the screen. When I answered, her voice was tight with suppressed anger. When did we get a divorce? Why wasn't I informed? I was already on my way, the divorce agreement in a briefcase beside me. The news cycle was exploding. Headlines like Maya and Leo's marriage in trouble, Maya and Evan the homewrecker dominated the trending lists. My phone was vibrating itself off the console of the van. I switched it to Do Not Disturb and leaned back, trying to get some rest. Beside me, my manager, Sarah, was watching a clip of Maya and Evan's steamy on-screen moment on her tablet. She looked up, her expression a mixture of shock and concern. You two are divorced? When did this happen? She cheated, I said, keeping my voice level. Sarah understood immediately. She switched off the tablet, and the van fell into a sudden, heavy silence, broken only by the sound of my own breathing. She sighed, searching for words of comfort that wouldn't come. You and Maya were together for 7 years, she finally said, her voice soft. Everyone knew how much you loved each other. You were the industry's golden couple. Is it possible there's been some kind of misunderstanding? I didn't answer her. Instead, I rolled down the window, letting the cool night air wash over my face. It was only last night that I had received a tip that Maya and Evan had checked into a hotel together. The news had sent a wave of pain through me so sharp it left me trembling. I had a lawyer draft the divorce papers overnight. 7 years of history made the betrayal feel that much deeper, that much more unforgivable. When I arrived at the hotel, I dialed Maya's number. Her voice, a mixture of panic and strained fury, answered. Leo, what are you doing here? When did we get divorced? Why didn't I know? She only ever used my full name when she was truly furious. The last time had been when I threw a glass of wine in Evan's face at a party. Now I was knocking on her hotel room door. It swung open to reveal Maya, phone still in hand. Our eyes met. She was wearing only a thin hotel robe, loosely tied, revealing the pale skin of her collarbone. Her expression was a complicated mix of irritation and a faint, flickering guilt. What are you doing here? She demanded. I walked past her into the room without a word and tossed the divorce agreement onto the small table. Sign it. Maya picked it up, her movements casual as she flipped through the pages before tossing it onto the sofa with a dismissive air. She ran a hand through her hair in frustration, a flicker of amusement in her eyes. Is this because of the intimate scenes with Evan? Leo, this is part of the job. I'm really tired. Can you please stop being so unreasonable? Maya, I said, my voice low as I took a deep breath to steady myself. We had an agreement when we got married. No intimate scenes. That was our rule. Maya had always been intensely possessive. She would have scripts with kissing scenes rejected outright or pressure directors to rewrite them. There was one time an actress, caught up in the moment, spontaneously kissed me on the cheek during a scene. The very next day, that actress was replaced and effectively vanished from the industry. Maya's possessiveness was a core part of her, but now, for another man, she had broken our most fundamental rule. Granting Evan that special privilege was all the proof I needed that her heart had changed. Her expression soured for a moment before she forced a smile. She moved closer, wrapping her arms around my waist and nibbling gently on my earlobe. "This time is an exception," she whispered. "I won't take on roles like this anymore, okay? As for the divorce, I don't want to hear another word about it, all right?" I was about to push her away when a cheerful male voice called out from the bathroom. "Maya, the faucet in here seems to be broken." The voice trailed off as Evan appeared in the doorway, dressed in casual clothes. He saw me, and his smile faltered. "Oh, Leo, what are you doing here?" He scratched his head, attempting an awkward explanation. "Maya and we're not what you think." Maya instinctively reached for a jacket on the sofa, clearly intending to hand it to Evan. I moved faster. I pulled out my phone and snapped several pictures of them together in the room. "Sign the papers," I said, my voice cold, "or I'll release these photos. Top actress caught cheating with rising star in overnight hotel tryst. How does that headline sound?" Maya clicked her tongue in annoyance. "Evan drank too much at the celebration dinner last night," she tried to explain. "I just brought him here to rest. Nothing happened between us." I ignored her flimsy excuse, my voice slow and deliberate. "You have 3 seconds." With a frustrated sigh, Maya snatched the agreement from the sofa, signed her name with a flourish, and threw it at me. "Is that enough for you? Have you had your fun?" I nodded, picking up the signed papers. As I turned to leave, her voice stopped me, laced with a sudden helplessness. "Leo, you were never like this before. When did you become so unreasonable?" I paused at the door. Her words echoed a similar sentiment from the first time I met Evan. He was a newcomer signed to her company, and he bore a passing resemblance to me. At first, Maya was unimpressed. She would cling to me, declaring, "My husband is one of a kind. That guy isn't even close." She claimed to dislike how he seemed to be riding my coattails. When he copied my sense of style, she called it a cheap imitation. When he got the same haircut, she dismissed it as tacky. But even she didn't seem to notice how often she began to mention his name. This supposedly unimportant person started cropping up in our daily conversations. She would mention offhandedly at dinner, "Evan doesn't like cilantro either, what a baby." But how would she know that unless they had eaten together? My patience snapped. I threw my chopsticks down on the table. "Enough! Why is Evan's name always coming up? Maya, do you have a thing for him?" She rushed to prove her loyalty, deleting his contact information right in front of me. But a few days later, at a business party, when some investors were pressuring Evan to drink, Maya smashed a bottle over one of their heads. She ignored my pale, shocked face as she wrapped a protective arm around Evan's shoulders, her expression dark. "Our company's artists do not provide escort services." I stepped out to the restroom for some air. When I returned, she had brought Evan, his cheek slightly swollen, to stand before me. "If you're angry, take it out on me," she said, her tone sharp. "Why did you hit him? Leo, since when did you become this unreasonable?" That night, she didn't come home. After a few days of cold silence, she reappeared with a piece of unique jewelry she had acquired from an overseas auction as a peace offering. "Don't be mad, darling," she cooed. "It's just that looking at him reminded me of you from a few years ago, working so hard. I just lost my mind for a moment." She said she couldn't protect the me from 7 years ago, so she was trying to protect Evan now. She fastened the jewelry on me and took time off work to stay home. And for a while, I let her believe everything was forgiven. What she didn't know was that I had already found Evan's secret social media account, which documented a 3-day vacation they had taken together. The way Maya and I first met was almost like a scene from a movie. I was just a low-level extra, and she was a wealthy young woman who had defied her family to pursue her dream of acting. Her parents, determined to break her spirit, had cut her off financially and were actively creating obstacles for her. Our first encounter was on a quiet street at dawn. I had just finished a long night shoot and bought a sausage from a street vendor. Suddenly, I felt an intense stare. I turned to see a pair of eyes, almost glowing in the dark, watching me from a nearby alley. I bought her a sausage too. We sat on the curb together as she told me her story. We talked all night, feeling an instant, deep connection. Every night after that, we would meet in the same spot to talk about our lives as struggling actors. We fell in love and moved into a tiny, cramped apartment together. In that small room, which always smelled of oil and damp mold, on a creaky iron bed, we built our world. For 3 years, we leaned on each other, supporting one another as we slowly climbed the ladder in our careers. The night Maya won the Best Newcomer award, she finally earned her parents' respect. That was when she confessed her true identity to me. I was hurt by the deception and refused to let her in. To apologize, she stood outside my door in a torrential downpour all night, eventually collapsing from a high fever and ending up in the hospital. The first thing she did when she woke was to try and leave to find me. My heart softened. She gave me a lavish wedding and publicly acknowledged our relationship at the peak of her fame, giving me everything she could. Everyone said I had won the lottery. Over time, I think even Maya started to believe it. She slowly began to forget those 3 difficult years we spent together in that tiny, damp room. Leaving the hotel now, I checked my phone. The trending topic about Evan being a homewrecker had already been removed. In its place was a post from Maya. "No divorce here, just a husband throwing a little fit. He's being pacified." The comment section flooded with praise for her and criticism for me. "What's the big deal about a scene? Leo's possessiveness is terrifying. Maya has been so loyal on screen for years. Is he that insecure? Leo is an embarrassment. He should be grateful for a wife like her." Normally, Maya would have had her team delete such negative comments immediately. This time, she not only left them up, but also liked a few of them, clearly intending to teach me a lesson. An assistant was on the phone, trying to coordinate with my team for damage control. I felt a wave of exhaustion and dozed off in the back of the van. When I woke up, it was nearly midnight. My phone was full of unread messages. As I was about to check them, Maya called. "Leo, where are you? Why didn't you come home?" I remained silent. After a few seconds, I could hear her breathing quicken slightly. She sighed. "Leo, you don't really believe we can get divorced just because of that piece of paper, do you? It was just for show. You know that. Come home, okay?" She was right. Divorcing her wouldn't be simple. To her, that agreement was just a piece of paper, a game she played when her pet was sulking. "Maya," I said calmly, "you don't actually believe there's a future for us, do you?" The papers were legally flimsy, but they were a declaration of my intent. There was no turning back. This marriage was over, no matter how messy it got. She chuckled, a cold, lazy sound. "Leo, don't joke like that. You know what happens when you make me angry." I could hear the faint, ominous tapping of her fingers on a tabletop. She was genuinely angry now. I smirked. "We'll see about that." Before she could reply, I hung up. My reflection in the dark window showed a man with disheveled hair and a weary face. This was the last time I would allow myself to be troubled by this toxic relationship. I knew how low Maya could stoop when provoked, but I wasn't afraid. I would not bow down. I would be the one smiling when this battle was over. Maya's retaliation was swift. A major leading role I had secured in an epic historical drama was suddenly given to Evan. He was the industry's new hot topic, following a career path suspiciously similar to my own. And with Maya's influence, the director didn't argue. On the first day of shooting, Maya herself showed up on set. As a major investor, she was treated like royalty. Assistants hovered with sunshades, fans, and iced coffees. During a break, Evan sat comfortably beside her, chatting animatedly. Maya's responses were absent-minded, her sharp gaze scanning the crowd until it found me. I ignored her, focusing on my script in the corridor while my assistant fanned me. "Isn't Maya here to see you?" my assistant whispered. "Why aren't you sitting with her? You're married, no need to act so distant." He didn't know the truth of our situation. I knew she was offering me an olive branch, but if she was truly trying to reconcile, would she have Evan sitting so close? And she had already used her power to take my lead role away. Threatening my career was a line she had crossed. Sensing my frustration from across the set, Maya ordered her assistant to bring plum juice, Evan's favorite, for the entire crew. People began to murmur about what a great couple they made, leaving Evan blushing. He glanced at me, his eyelashes fluttering. "Don't say that," he said playfully. "Leo is still here, you know." His comment was a pointed reminder to everyone of my supposed place, and an awkward silence fell over the set. The awkwardness peaked when filming for the next scene began. It was a pivotal moment where my character discovers the supporting character, played by Evan, is a villain and slaps him during a heated confrontation. The director wanted the slap to feel raw and intense. I got into character, my eyes blazing with resentment as I looked at Evan. "So what if you know it was me? What can you do about it?" Before I could even finish my line, Evan's hand shot out and he slapped me across the face, hard. The force sent me stumbling back a few steps, and my cheek instantly began to swell and turn red. Evan, putting on a flustered act, bit his lip as his eyes welled with tears. "I'm so sorry, Leo. Your acting was just so convincing I couldn't hold back." Once the director called "cut," my assistant rushed over with an ice pack, shooting a furious glare at Evan. I waved him off, dabbed some powder on my face, and signaled to the director that I was ready to continue. Over the next several takes, Evan kept messing up, forgetting his lines, going off script, each mistake resulting in another hard slap to my face. After the sixth one, my cheek was numb and tingling, and I could taste the metallic tang of blood in my mouth. "Sorry, Leo," Evan mumbled, trying to look pitiful. "You're such a professional. I'm new to this. It takes me a while to get into character." The director chuckled nervously. In his eyes, I was married to the show's main sponsor, and Evan was her rumored new favorite. He couldn't afford to offend either of us. "Maybe we should shoot another scene first," he suggested. "We can rework this one." Maya, who had been watching silently, finally cleared her throat. She caught my eye and arched a brow, waiting for me to back down. I looked away and addressed the director. "Continue." The director glanced at Maya's stern face and cautiously asked, "How about we fake the slaps from now on?" After a few tense seconds, Maya spoke, her voice soft but firm. "No need to fake it. Leo is very professional. Surely he wouldn't resort to unprofessional methods." Her words painted me into a corner. I suddenly remembered a story I'd heard about Evan being slapped on a different set and crying about it. Maya had stormed backstage to defend him, demanding he be allowed to slap the other actor back. I also remembered her saying similar words to me years ago, after a director had slapped me for not getting into character. That night, she had gently rolled a hot egg over my bruised cheek and promised, "Don't worry, Leo. Soon, I'll make sure you get to slap back." She later made sure that director never worked in the industry again. The memory sent a familiar ache through my chest. "It's okay, Leo," I told myself. "You don't need her to get your own back anymore." Just as Evan used another forgotten line as an excuse to slap me again, the sharp click of high heels approached, followed by a chilly voice. "Who let this nobody near my leading role?" It was Mr. Sterling, the powerful CEO behind the production company. He was known as a tyrant in the industry, and I had been banking on him showing up today after returning from a business trip. I relaxed, nodding respectfully at him, and letting him get a clear view of my swollen face. His eyes flashed with anger. He slammed a stack of papers onto a nearby table. Who approved this kind of favoritism in my cast? All eyes darted toward Maya. Evan shrank behind her, his face pale. Maya stood, composed herself, and extended a hand to Mr. Sterling. It's been a long time, William. Mr. Sterling narrowed his eyes. Maya, are we that close? His public dismissal caught her completely off guard. Master William, she stammered, her smile frozen. I'm an investor in this project. He picked up a sheet of paper and tossed it in Evan's face. $5 million from Maya, huh? You think that's impressive? You think a little cash gets your boy toy a role in my production? He looked Evan up and down with open disdain. And a second-rate one at that. Maya, I don't care about your personal scandals, but my set is not a dumping ground. Withdraw your investment and take your boy with you. Evan was publicly humiliated and banned from receiving any scripts from Mr. Sterling's company. As I was applying ointment to my face in my dressing room, an ointment Mr. Sterling's assistant had personally delivered, Evan burst in. Feeling smug now, Leo? He snarled. Think being close to Sterling makes you special? I may not be the lead anymore, but slapping you was worth it. Evan, I began calmly, setting the ointment aside. The dressing room was empty. I stood and quietly slid the lock on the door. Before he could process what was happening, I grabbed a fistful of his hair and slapped him across the face with all my strength. I didn't hold back. Each slap was a loud, sharp crack in the small room. He was no match for me physically, and soon his face was a swollen red mess, a trickle of blood coming from his nose. My hand throbbed. 10 slaps, I said, my voice even. I'm paying you back in full. He held his face, stumbling back. You're shameless, Leo. You're cheating. I only slapped you 8 times. I took a sip of water. Remember the slap at the party when you framed me? That makes 9. And the 10th? Consider it a buy one, get one free deal. I raised my hand as if to strike him again. Are you leaving or not? He scurried out, holding his bruised face, only to run directly into Maya in the hallway. Seeing her, he started whining. Maya! Leo hit me! He's jealous that you protect me! Maya frowned, pushed Evan aside, and stepped into the dressing room, closing the door behind her. Her gaze softened as she looked at my face. Leo, does it hurt? She raised a hand as if to touch my cheek, but I flinched away. Her hand froze in midair. She sighed, a complex expression in her eyes. Leo, you've turned bad. You're starting to plot against me now. Right back at you, I countered. Why have you become so stubborn? Is it so hard for you to just admit you're wrong? You know, she continued, if you had just looked at me on set, even one glance, I would have sent Evan packing immediately. Funny, I said, raising an eyebrow. I didn't look at you, and he left anyway, didn't he? She paused, her eyes scanning me from head to toe. Leo, you've changed, she said, her voice hoarse. The old Leo would have jumped into her arms, demanding she avenge him. This new Leo was a leopard with his claws out. You've changed, Maya, I replied softly. You say I'm stubborn, but the old Maya would never have allowed anyone the chance to hurt me in the first place. Her hands clenched. Leo, it's not what you think, she said, sounding helpless. What do I have to do for you to believe that Evan and I are innocent? My tone turned playful. Sign over all your shares to me. Give me lots of money. Then I'll believe you and we won't get a divorce. How about that? Her face fell. So you are with me for the money? Did you ever even love me, Leo? It was the same accusation, the same doubt. Tired of the circular argument, I opened the door. Throw whatever you want at me, Maya. I'll be ready. But no matter what, this divorce is happening. When my manager, Sarah, heard what happened, she was furious. What an arrogant jerk! She played a video for me that I had arranged to have secretly recorded, perfectly capturing Evan's on-set behavior. "Do you want to release this now?" "Not yet," I told her. "The timing isn't right. I want this to have the maximum impact." I focused on my work. Meanwhile, Maya seemed to double down, openly taking Evan to high-profile parties and events. She even skipped her own work schedule to take him on a trip to Turkey. The next time I saw her was after the behind-the-scenes footage of my first on-screen kiss with my female co-star went viral. The comments were overwhelmingly positive about our chemistry. That night, my doorbell rang. It was Maya. "What's up?" I asked, a cool smile on my face. "Decided to finally agree to the divorce?" She tossed her bag to the floor, strode toward me, and grabbed the back of my head, pulling me into a desperate, messy kiss. I pushed her away, but not before she bit my lip in defiance. She knew all my weak spots. Her warm breath, smelling of alcohol, was in my ear. "Leo, whose kissing was better, hers or mine?" I slapped her hard across the face and wiped my lips with a tissue in disgust. "What is wrong with you, Maya? Go get help. Don't come here drunk and acting crazy." She rubbed her jaw, a wry smile on her face. "Is your anger gone now, Leo? Let's just stop this. Remember how we started? I know you intentionally got close to me back then. I won't hold it against you. Let's just go back to how we were." Over the years, several people had whispered to Maya that I had known her true identity all along, that I had only stayed with her for her family's wealth and influence. At first, she defended me fiercely, but slowly, the poison of doubt seeped in. She began questioning me constantly. The relentless questioning wore me down, and I grew tired of defending myself. Eventually, she stopped asking, but the suspicion remained, a tight knot in her heart. I looked down at her now. I used to love the little tuft of hair that always stuck up on her head. But from this angle, I could clearly see faint scratch marks on her neck, and I caught the lingering scent of Evan's favorite cologne. I stepped back. "Could you just die?" she asked, her eyes filled with a desperate hope. "If you die, I won't leave you. I'll stay with you forever." "Maya," I said, my voice tight with frustration as I threw a pillow at her. "You just came from seeing Evan. You still have lipstick on your neck? And you have the nerve to say this to me? Just go to hell." Her face changed as she tried to wipe at the marks. "Let me explain." "Die first, then you can explain it in your will," I said, grabbing her scarf and pushing her toward the door. She stumbled, catching the door frame. Her face, illuminated by the flickering hallway light, was a mask of fury. She pulled out her phone and made a call. "Jason's award," she said into the phone, her voice cold as ice. "It goes to Evan." For that award, I had endured filming in freezing water for hours in the dead of winter, nearly passing out from the cold. Sarah had assured me it was a guaranteed win. With one phone call, Maya had erased 7 years of my hard work. My hands began to shake, and tears of helpless fury welled in my eyes. She seemed pleased by my reaction. "Leo," she said, tapping the door frame, "you need to remember how you got to where you are, and who helped you get there." In a blind rage, I swatted a small ceramic doll off a cabinet, and it shattered at her feet. It was a doll we had painted together at a fair years ago. We had been spotted by fans and had to run, clutching the doll, laughing as we sped away on a motorcycle. She had shouted over the wind, "Leo, what's your dream?" "Best actor," I had yelled back. "I want to get there on my own." She had stopped the bike, taken off my helmet, and kissed me. "I believe you can do it," she had said. And now, with her own hands, she had destroyed that dream. On awards night, the headlines were already celebrating my anticipated victory. As they announced the winner, I prepared to stand, a smile already on my face. The spotlight hit Evan. The room erupted in applause, and my frozen, forced smile was captured by a dozen cameras. Evan gave a tearful, insincere acceptance speech, claiming I deserved it more. The internet exploded. My fans were furious, but many others mocked me. Kathy posted a carefully worded message of support for Evan, maintaining her facade. Taking a deep breath, I knew it was time. I reshared Maya's post with a simple caption, 7 years of love, and I still lost the bet. I attached everything. The hotel photos of her and Evan, the footage of his behavior on set, and the audio recording of her phone call giving my award away. I ended the post with a final, clear statement. Maya and I are getting divorced. No forgiveness, no negotiation, no looking back. The scandal was catastrophic for them. Their public personas crumbled. Their company's stock plummeted. The Film Award Committee, facing massive backlash, reached out to offer me compensation, which I ignored. That night, Sarah and I opened a bottle of wine in my most expensive apartment, looking out over the city from the floor-to-ceiling windows. This was the life I had fought for. My parents had abandoned me in the mountains when I was 8. I grew up poor, struggling for every meal. I decided to become a celebrity, thinking that if my face was everywhere, they might find me. But as I got older, I realized the truth. They were never coming back. I was climbing for myself now, not for them. "Do you have any regrets, Leo?" Sarah asked, a little tipsy. "Considering how much you invested in her." I raised my glass. Sunk costs don't factor into major decisions. To hell with love. Cheers to my career. My phone rang for days with calls from Maya. I didn't answer. She sent long, pleading texts. It was a moment of weakness with Evan. I was angry because someone told me you were only with me for my money. I used him to test you. Please, you have to believe me. I didn't. How could a man who resembled me be a replacement for me? She claimed she was trying to help him the way she helped me, but I had clawed my way up through real hardship. He was handed everything. Her parents flew in from overseas. Her mother met with me. She had never liked me, always believing I wasn't good enough for her daughter. I slid the family heirloom bracelet Maya had given me across the table toward her. She ignored it. "She chose you," her mother said. "She gave up her inheritance, endured a beating from her father, and knelt in the rain all night for you. Her knees still ache when it rains because of that night." Her words were meant to stir regret, but I felt nothing. "Her betrayal erases all of that," I said calmly. "We can't go back. I would rather leave the country than ever see her again." An awkward silence fell. Then her mother sneered and revealed her phone was on speaker. Maya had been listening the entire time. Her mother stormed out. Later, I learned that Maya had also secretly sacrificed for me, begging investors and drinking heavily to secure the role that won her the Best Newcomer award, a fact she had never told me. But it was too late. She finally agreed to the divorce, offering a massive financial settlement, which I accepted without hesitation. The company was handed over to a trusted associate of her father's, and she was taken abroad. Before she left, she told me she would always wait for me, that her number would never change. "Could you at least come to the airport to see me off?" she asked, her voice small. I didn't go. I watched her lonely figure recede in my rearview mirror and felt nothing but relief. I have a secret I never told Maya. She was right. I was with her for her money and status. My head is perfectly fine. That life of romantic poverty in our tiny, mold-filled apartment was a novelty for a rich girl like her. For me, it was a miserable existence I was desperate to escape. I did love her at first, a pure, simple love. But that love was slowly starved to death by reality. Just as I was about to end things all those years ago, I overheard her on the phone with her mother, promising that if she didn't succeed in 2 more years, she would come home and inherit the family company. In that moment, I paused. I realized this was a gamble. I decided to play the long game, and now finally my gamble had paid off.